Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. I'm gonna open up with this video and 1 second, Salaki. Open up with this video, but as we've been stating, chaos is on this earth. You know what I'm saying? You got all these. I think you got like 6 or 7 different nations. You know what I'm saying? That's in that region. That's locking. Get ready to go in. All these little skirmishes, and I'm gonna get into this video of missiles coming down on Israel. You're not gonna never see this in the mainstream media because they want to keep you under the illusion that they got everything in control. That's the pride of these devils. So I'm gonna get into this video. Check this out.
Sirens, then fire. Iranian ballistic missiles struck central Tel Aviv, and according to footage broadcast by Iran's Press TV, at least some of them were not intercepted. The visuals show multiple explosions tearing through densely populated streets, burning vehicles, and thick black smoke rising over what appears to be a residential district. Associated Press images confirmed firefighters responding to scorched vehicles in central Israel after the strikes. Israel's Magen David Adom Rescue Service said at least 11 people had been killed since Sunday, according to the latest available figures. In Tel Aviv alone, at least 40 buildings were damaged in a single night of strikes, according to Haaretz, citing the city municipality. A complete Iranian ballistic missile, not fragments, struck next to an apartment building, leaving a massive crater and killing a Philippine caregiver who did not reach the shelter in time. Iran says it is not finished. Ibrahim Zulfikari, spokesperson for the Joint Army and Revolutionary Guard Coordination Center, announced that in just 48 hours, Iran had struck 60 strategic targets and 500 military points tied to U.S. and Israeli forces, a tally that has not been independently verified. More than 700 drones and hundreds of ballistic missiles fired. He said the operation exceeded everything achieved during the entire 12-day war last June. Iranian media also claimed a strike on what Tehran described as the largest U.S. early warning radar in the Persian Gulf, citing a $1.1 billion price tag and a detection range of 5,000 kilometers. No U.S. confirmation.
Yeah, they hit that radar. So what you have to understand about warfare is it's the things that you don't see. These radars, satellites, being able to stalk your enemy from on high through these satellites. That's why the Edomites, going back into the mascot is the eagle. The eagle ain't just the animal that they reverence because they reverence the animal because it has the capability to fly higher than any other bird, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see this. It ties back into their surveillance. 1 second. Is the eagle the highest flying bird? Salakia. Well, it's one of. It says no, the eagle is not the highest flying bird. The record belongs to a vulture. Salakia. Well, you get the point. The eagle has keen. Give me the attributes of an eagle.
Eagles are apex predators with exceptional long-distance vision, allowing them to spot prey from miles away. They have massive wingspans, powerful talons, and are known for their fearless, high-altitude flight, resilience, and represent freedom, strength, and tenacity.
There you go. So it said it. It says, number one, eagles fly alone at high altitude. It says eagles have a powerful vision, but going back into these devil surveillance, the military might, the proudness to be able to spy on people from on top is the eagle. And eagle represents other things as well, but you get the gist of it. So, and I advise you brothers to look up the information of how Iran is built. How Iran is set up as a country, and you'll understand that this is a very complex situation because Iran, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh put Iran in a certain region. Them be the Iranians as the Persians, if I'm not mistaken. The Persians, yeah, Persia, ancient Persia. But let me go here real quick. It's a lot. Let me jump back. It says Isaiah 45:7. It says, I form the light. It says, and create darkness. It says, I make peace and create evil. So you don't know this side of God as you people say, because you've been presented that so-called God is all love. And they gave you the imagery. They told you the Messiah was nothing but love. You got lied to. And a lot of you Jakes gotta let that go. But years and years of indoctrination is hard to let go of a lot of. It's hard for some Jakes of our people to let go of that because they've been so severely indoctrinated and brainwashed. They actually gave you the opposite personality of how, as you call God, really is, and the Messiah. They gave you the complete opposite. So let me go back to this real quick. So this is remember you saw my lesson yesterday that Iran is allies with China and Russia. So this is gonna, and I was watching a video that Russia, quote unquote generals, so not necessarily his generals, but like people that's in his circle are pushing for him to get involved. They're gonna get involved. It's just a matter of time. Now things might, fizzle back out, but the tables are already set now. The table is set. Now, if things die back down, everything is going back into getting in place for World War III. But you've seen the developing stages of World War III. This is how it's going to play out in a major way. It says the Bible, well, I put in about World War III. They not, look, if you're looking for these devils to ever tell you the truth or for them to ever teach you the truth, it's not going to happen. It has to come through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. It says the Bible does not specifically mention World War III by name, but it contains numerous prophecies regarding intense global conflicts, Salakia, immense suffering, and cosmic battles that occur in the end times or the last days. Many scholars and interpreters view these descriptions as foreshadowing a future catastrophic global conflict, which is World War III. So let's go here. They're going to give somewhat of a breakdown. Prophesied end time battles. It says the battle of Gog and Magog, Ezekiel chapter 38. So that's what we're getting ready. Eventually we're going to lead up into Ezekiel 38 when Gog, which is Russia, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to have these other countries, which would be like Turkey, Iran. They're going to all come together. And it's going to be what you see in the development stages of World War III. And it's going to be something you can't comprehend. And it's been coined in the Bible the time of Jacob's trouble. Jacob trouble, which is coming. Which Jacob trouble is going to be the whole world trouble. And it's going to be a time of great confusion, great distress. And it's people going to be bugging out. And they're going to roll out the MOTB. What is the MOTB? The micro CHIP, right? It says often identified modern day Russia, Iran, and other allies that will invade Israel, and they're going to destroy Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Which is America. They're going to destroy Babylon with nuclear missiles and other missiles, and you have chariots shooting down on this place. It's going to be crazy, man. So let me show you something real quick these devils did. They did man, there's a heavy definition I went into the other day. I forgot to bring it into this lesson. But when you do a character assassination, these devils drew, let me show you something. This represents Yahweh Shah. This is the more accurate depiction of them. But right here, hopefully this thing don't shut off on me. Salakia. Well, I'm gonna leave it as is because I think this thing gonna shut off on me. Let me go back here. But when they showed you in their paintings, these Edomite painters, they painted the Most High, they painted the Messiah, they painted the prophets, they painted the angels, so on and so forth, to be so-called white men. And what does that do to your mind? That puts an illusion as witchcraft. Because now when people read the Bible, that's why Jake don't want to. You got these Jakes in the so-called black unconscious community. They don't want to deal with the Bible because they see the images in their mind. They see so-called white men. That's that witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? People that have a disdain for the Bible because they perceive it to be a so-called white man book. Why do they perceive that to be that way? Because of the images they were shown of Moses and, David, so on and so forth. Even these names are a snare. These names are English names. All the men of the Lord, the prophets, Dawadah, which is David, Malak Dawadah, which means King David, so on and so forth. They had Hebrew names. So that's a big snare unto the world. They can't understand that. That's a mystery unto them because they've been indoctrinated under the English language. So this would be a more accurate depiction, as people call JC, because we're not even saying that name. You know what I'm saying? Because that name, unless I'm making an example of something, but we try not to say that name because that name is an enchantment. This would be a more accurate depiction of people know as God. They don't even know his name. It's crazy. They don't know the Messiah name. But in the Bible, it gives them a description of how they look. So the so-called white man turned the table upside down and gave you all whitewashed images to put that witchcraft in your mind. That's why most of our people are finished. They're not going to come out there in indoctrination. They've been indoctrinated for too long. The spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua got to bring you out of that. But how you come out of that with the truth? How you know the truth? How you know when something is a truth when it can be shown and proven to you? This is the truth. We got scriptures, we got history, we got all kind of things to back the truth up. You should be able to understand it if it's meant for you to get. Another thing you got to understand, Jake, this ain't for everybody. So trying to wake up your mother, your father, your auntie, your uncle, that, you know what I'm saying? If the spirit on you to do that, most of the time they're going to reject it because they got to be of the elect of the nation of Israel. That's something you have to understand. Most Jakes and most of our people are not going to get it. It's not meant for them to get. Matter of fact, let me get this precept right here. They don't know so-called God as they say. Exodus 15:3. It says Yahweh, when you see Lord in all caps. When you look this up, you got to start looking stuff up, Jake. It goes back into Yahweh. That's his name. It says it is a man of war. Hold up. They didn't give you this God in Christianity. They gave you an all-loving God, which is the witchcraft. He's a man of war. Yahweh is his name. And the son, like father, like son, or like, you know what I'm trying to say. Let's go to the son, the Messiah. What he got to say? Matthew 10:34 is written in blood. This is what this means. Think not I have come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword, death, destruction, division, all kind of chaos. You know what I'm saying? So this lines up, with Yahweh being a man of war too. Like father, like son. But you wouldn't shown this. That's why when we present this Bible in its harsh veracity, Jake get fucking offended. Because they soft. They've been these Edomites done beat the man out of them. So let's go here. And I put in a man of war character. It says a man of war character generally embodies it says immense strength, discipline, and lethal combat capability, Salakia. It says often characterized by unwavering dedication to duty, leadership, and a warrior-minded approach to challenge. You don't see. That's why Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua said, I kill, I make alive, I wound, I heal. So all the bad stuff that you people consider to be done by Satan, the Most High is orchestrating all this. And that's why we tell you people that's outside of the truth. You don't know so-called God. Other son, you don't have no clue. Because you've been under the witchcraft of which you've been taught that they good all the time. They love everybody. Right? So war, and more war is coming. And we need to get the hell up out of here. Call Hola Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rachak Kodash. Shalom.